Hey, I hope everyone's having a fantastic holiday season. Hopefully you've got some time off to enjoy yourselves. I always want to do like a Christmas or kind of like winter themed top 10 video around this time of year every year, and I've just kind of like been running out of ideas, and that is of course until I kind of remembered Fem Troopers Games to Play When You're Sick video. That video just kind of reminded me of a video I've kind of always wanted to do and just never kind of pulled the trigger on, and that is kind of the top 10 comfort games or cozy games. So I narrowed it down to about 5 or 6, and I was like, man, I want to do this as a top 10. I want a full top 10 video to go out for kind of my Christmas special. So when my good friend DJ Online and I were recording our Best of 2024 podcast, where we kind of recognize members of our community, as well as talk about kind of like the best games we played, the best indie games, and like the best shows we watched, and all that kind of stuff. So be sure to check that out. I figured, you know what, maybe let's enlist my good friend DG to help out in this. So if you like top 10 videos, retro games, JRPGs, podcasts, all that kind of stuff, please remember to like, subscribe, and turn notifications to all so you won't miss the next video. So I'm going to be counting down my top 5, interwoven with his top 5 as well, so that we can make this a true top 10 video. Now, these games aren't necessarily like our favorite games of all time. These are the games that you play after you've had like a rough day or a rough week, or even you had a good day and you just want to kind of unwind and relax and sit on the couch and just play some games that just make you feel all warm and cozy inside. So I'm going to let DG introduce himself and start this one off.
What's up, everybody? My name is Mike, aka DG Online. Huge thanks to Dookie for having me here to run down my top 5 comfort games. Let's get into it.
Number 5.
Trading Card Game Simulator is the newest game on this list. Came out September of 2024. Where basically in the game you operate your own trading card and nerd store, where you stock the shelves, buy the inventory, and you organize your store. It's your run-of-the-mill simulator game with that trading card game nerd type flavoring to it. The game is relaxing because there's no pressure in this game. You play it at your own pace. You decide what goes where, you decide what you stock, what you sell, why you sell it, if you sell anything at all. It's a relaxing game because basically there's no pressure. You can play this game at your own pace. And with it being a simulator game, it lends itself well to whatever play style it is that you would like to see out of that. As well, you can save and quit at any time. You can pick right back up where you left off. If it's in the middle of the day, so be it. You can do that. In the game, you can open up packs of cards to add to your collection. You can sell your collection. You can hold on to your collection. You can put your collection on display. You can also sell all sorts of different things, ranging from cards to plushies to board games, etc. The game is a ton of fun because basically you can kick back and do whatever you would like within that game, and it's got that kind of connection with folks that are into trading card games and other types of things like board games, etc. Just watch out for the stinky people. You really gotta hose them down with that deodorant. This game's super laid back and chill, and TCG Simulator is my number 5.
Number 5.
My number 5 pick is a game you'll see me playing time and time again, and that is of course Final Fantasy Theatrhythm Final Bar Line. I kind of do enjoy rhythm games, but I'm usually pretty bad at them, especially when it comes to like DDR and stuff like that, where you get the dance pad. DG and myself actually used to play in a band together years and years ago, and I play the drums and stuff like that. But when it came to playing like Rock Band and stuff, I find that like if you actually are a drummer, it's almost impossible to follow prompts on a screen and play it that way. So I've never really been all that good at rhythm games, but I love Final Fantasy, and I love the music of Final Fantasy, and the way that they design the Theatrhythm games is just so well done. Anyone can play it. There's a number of difficulty settings. It feels good to play. It's super fun. It's super engaging, but it's also like really laid back and chill. You can just kind of chill out, listen to your favorite music. The way you like play the songs is so well thought out and designed that some of the songs are just so much fun to play through. It's just an absolute blast, and there's like so many songs. You've got all the mainline Final Fantasy games from 1 through 15, and then you've got a bunch of like Final Fantasy spin-offs. Like you got Final Fantasy Tactics, you got Final Fantasy 13-2, you've got Final Fantasy, I think it was like Mobius and stuff like that. Like they cover all the Final Fantasy games. And then there's a ton of DLC. So who the heck doesn't love the soundtracks to like Chrono Cross, Chrono Trigger, Trials of Mana, Secret of Mana. Like, there's so much good music in this game. The gameplay is excellent. You actually get to like level up characters and learn new spells and abilities, and there's like challenges and missions and stuff that you've got to complete while you're playing through the songs using those characters, and it's just so well done. There's so many like little details that you can kind of focus on and improve upon in the game, or you can just relax, slap on a party that you like no matter what, and just play through and have a good time.
Number 4.
Booting into a fresh world in Minecraft is one of my all-time favorite gaming moments. Something about seeing that landscape load up around you, which just gives you that rush of, I can do anything. And then it's immediately dashed with, oh right, I need to build a hut before the monsters come and wreck me. Minecraft is one of those games where there's no actual goal in the game. I mean, there is, but for the sake of this video, not so much. You want to spend the entire day listening to chill music and just strip mining for materials to build at a later date? Easy. You want to go hunting? No problem. Find new worlds? Let's go. And if you literally just want to play digital Lego blocks, you can put it into creative mode and just build whatever you want. I think it's the absolute most perfect game to throw on when you've got a couple of hours and you just want to zone out and play something, or you find those nights when you're on Discord with your buddies and trying to figure out what you want to do, and it's a perfect place to kind of screw around a little bit. Of course, the game used to be a little bit better without the forced Microsoft experience that's now been pressed into it. What I mean is, the login experience is not exactly the best, but on the whole, it's still the same game that I played all those years ago. Minecraft is sitting comfy over here at number 4.
Number 4.
At number 4, I've got the original Dragon Quest. So, I grew up playing Dragon Warrior years and years ago. Heck, most of the channel is Dragon Quest related content. Dragon Warrior is a game that I will always cherish. I'll always have a ton of nostalgia for. I mean, I've got the freaking poster hanging on my wall here still. It's just like a simple game. Like, there's not a whole lot of story going on. You're just kind of going from place to place, exploring the world, getting your grind on, and I find grinding, especially in classic JRPGs, to be one of the most relaxing and calming things to ever do in a video game. I love to just chill out, hit the grind hard, and enjoy some cozy music while I do it. Dragon Quest is a game I've played probably more than any other game, other than maybe Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and it's just something I just always find myself going back to. It's really short, especially in like either like the Switch remakes or like the Super Famicom or Game Boy Color remakes. They managed to whittle this like 20-hour game down to about 5 to 10 hours. So you could just like blast through it in an afternoon if you really want. It's just one of those games that I just keep coming back to. It's not my favorite in the series by any means, but it's just so short, so familiar, and I just honestly feel like I'm at home when I'm visiting the locations and playing this game. So that's why I put the original Dragon Quest as number 4.
Number 3.
In my youth, I remember throwing quarter after quarter into the puzzle games at the arcade. I don't know what it was, but they always seemed to gel with me for whatever reason. When I walked into the arcade, I would walk past the fighters, the shooters, the adventure games, and go straight to the puzzle games. And by no means am I that good at them, but I do enjoy a good puzzle game when I'm looking to just relax for a couple hours. And while there are many different types of puzzle games and many different flavors, my pick here has to be Bust-A-Move 2. I have so many fond memories of playing that in the arcade, in my home arcade, and then recently to the port the Sega Saturn has, which is almost a perfect remake. You bounce those little bubbles into the bubbles of the same color, you knock them out and survive the stage as they continue to press down from the roof. Easy peasy. Mostly. Not to mention, it features our friends from Bubble Bobble using the controls down there. The game's super fun and easy to learn, a little bit tough to master. The other thing that's a bonus is when you die, it gives you the little line that allows you to see where you're aiming yourself at. The game's not overly stressful, you can throw a few hours into it pretty easily. This is one of those fantastic puzzle games that stood the test of time. Number 3 for me, Bust-A-Move 2.
Number 3.
My number 3 pick is a brand new game that just came out like a couple months ago, and I'm talking about Rogue Flight. If you'd asked me maybe like 4 or 5 months ago, I would have said like something like Afterburner Climax, but honestly, Rogue Flight has everything Afterburner Climax has, and just kind of evolves that for like a modern game. It's like a space shooter, kind of rail shooter style game. I did a full review of it here on the channel, so be sure to check that out. But if you enjoy something like Star Fox or Afterburner, or anything kind of along those lines, like Space Harrier, stuff like that, you're gonna enjoy this game. There's so much like customization you can do, or you can just play through on randomized mode. You're always gonna get like a slightly new experience every single time. It's just something that I can like put on easy and just chill out, have a good time, blasting away the enemies, dodging all the obstacles. I also am really glad that I decided to do this as a collab with DG, because you can tell we have like totally different tastes when it comes to the games we like to kind of unwind and play. He likes kind of like puzzle games and like crafting games and stuff like that, which is great, but to me that's like kind of the opposite of what I like. I like to just like sit down, blow enemies away, and just have a good time. Rogue Flight is really fast paced, so you kind of just get in the zone, you lock your focus into the game, and then nothing else around you kind of matters. And that's one of the biggest reasons I love these kinds of games. It's got the perfect combat for a game like this. The speed is just incredible, even faster than something like Afterburner Climax, which I absolutely loved. So be sure to check it out. It might not be a comfort game for you. You might find it a little bit more stressful or something like that. But for me, it's a game I can just kind of like zone into. Sometimes when you relax, you want to zone out. Sometimes when I want to relax, I want to zone in and have my entire focus on this game, so I can just blast through enemies in space and have nothing else on my mind.
Number 2.
Man, I love that intro screen. Stardew Valley, the little town to escape to from the humdrum of the working life. From the art style to the music, everything within this game just oozes with that calming, no-stress energy. Build your farm the way you want, interact with the townspeople at your pace, fish, fighting, whatever you want to do, there's no pressure. You just jump in and do it. I first played this game when it was released in 2016, and to this day, the developer, Concerned Ape, continues to update and add new content to the game. It's amazing that such a fantastic indie title has been so well loved by so many different people. You do things around town, you collect items, fish, navigate the mines, and of course, growing your farm in order to make the town of Stardew Valley part of your own. Throughout the years, you grow different crops. You have different seasons change and different things happen throughout, but the core of the game still stays the same. You play it at your own pace. If I'm ever looking to kick back and play some games with or without friends, it's usually this one that I reach for first. It is such a great game and holds so many awesome memories. Stardew Valley, your number 2.
Number 2.
My number 2 pick is another game that I've played probably a million times over the course of my life, and that is Mega Man 6 on the NES. I love the Mega Man games ever since I rented the first one as a child. I don't know if it was like the character designs and like the Robot Master designs and stuff like that, and the gameplay was tight, don't get me wrong. It was just way too hard for me. So I remember going back, and I think the next weekend I ended up renting Mega Man 2 instead, and I loved it way more because it was a lot more manageable difficulty-wise, and I could actually beat some of the Robot Masters at that time. I've been like a long-time fan of the Mega Man series, but after 3, I kind of like dipped out for a little while, and then I was like, man, I wonder what my boy Mega Man's up to, and I grabbed Mega Man 6, and oh my god, it was so good. I just love like the jet adapter and the power adapter, and it just added a little bit more customization to how you wanted to play the game. I know you've got like a ton of like special weapons and stuff that add a ton of customization already, but I'm one of those guys that doesn't use any of the special weapons until I get to the boss fights, so I don't want to like run out of like weapon energy and stuff like that, right? The nice thing about the rush adapters is that they constantly just automatically recharge their energy. So you can like expend your jet fuel or whatever, but as soon as you land, it just fully recharges. It allows you a little bit more seamless exploration and like messing around and stuff like that without having any real repercussions. And I think that's what I really loved about it. I've played this game so many times, I kind of have like my route kind of picked out all the time, but there are branching paths in Mega Man 6, and that's like one of the things that really makes this one stand out for me, because none of the other NES games really had that in the Mega Man series. You didn't really get into that too much until it got to like Mega Man X on the Super NES. I just love all the Robot Masters in this game. They have such good, unique designs. The weapons are really well thought out. I even like some of like the Wily stage boss fights, like the dinosaur guy. There's so many different ways you can beat him, and I always just beat him by like punching the platforms into him, even though it's like the slowest possible probably way to beat the guy. I love experimenting with the power adapter in this game. It allows so much more freedom than just using like the special weapons and stuff like that, and there's so many different routes, and I just love pretty much everything about Mega Man 6. It's my favorite Mega Man game of all time. It's definitely up there as the game I will play if I had like a really crappy day. I'll just sit down, fire up the Mega Man Legacy Collection on like my PS4 or PS5, and play the absolute crap out of Mega Man 6.
Number 1.
The year is 1990. The Super Nintendo is released, and there it is, sitting on the shelf in its packaging. F-Zero. My first foray into Mode 7, my first real racing game that I ever connected with, and a single-player game that I didn't have to share with my brothers. F-Zero is just one of those games that I throw on any time that I hit a gaming lull. I've always been connected with this game in a way that I don't have with other titles like it. After completing a different game, if I've got 20 or 30 more minutes to spare, that's the one that hits my desk next. You choose your racer, hit the tracks, going blazing fast, trying to be the first one across the finish line. I always take Blue Falcon, not for any real reason other than that's what my young self would pick back in the day. Captain Falcon and his Falcon Punch! The soundtrack is great. The game is fun, and its later sequels are regarded as some of the best racing available on the consoles that they released on. I have an absolute lot of love for this game, and for whatever reason, I've always been actually not bad at it. At 35 years old, F-Zero has to be my number 1.
Number 1.
So I find it kind of funny because I said DG and I had pretty much opposite choices all the way throughout this video until right now. Because he picked F-Zero, and for me, I also really like winding down with a really good arcadey style, retro style racing game. And it was kind of a tie for me because I love both these games so much. They're both from the same series. I had to go with the original arcade Outrun, which you can play on the Switch. And once you beat the game a few times, you can unlock kind of cheats, I guess, that make your car have more grip, faster speed, better handling, stuff like that. It just makes it more fun because the game's a little bit easier. You can kind of relax. You can just still bring in all the sights while you're driving through the courses. And there's so many different routes you can take, different ways you can play through all the stages and stuff like that. And then there's also a few different music selections as well, and the music in the Outrun games is absolutely phenomenal. And then of course, tied with the original Outrun is Outrun 2006 Coast to Coast. You got all the content from Outrun 2 in here. You got Coast to Coast mode, which has a bunch of like little missions and stuff like that in it. And there are so many different routes and tracks, so many different songs in this game. The routes and possibilities in this game honestly feel endless. The gameplay in this is the best. This is my favorite, bar none, racing game of all time, or driving game of all time, because the drift mechanics are incredible. You've got like a good risk reward system when it comes to like the slipstream boosts, and you can just go so fast. It's got such a good sense of speed, but it also feels super arcadey, which is perfect. If you hit like a rail or something, just like in the classic original Outrun game, your car does like a kickflip basically. Outrun and Outrun 2006 Coast to Coast are hands down my favorite comfort games of all time. These are the ones I'm always coming back to. These and of course Mega Man 6. If I had like a rough week, rough day, or I just want to sit back, unwind, and relax while playing one of my favorite games, it's always going to be one of those two games.
Dookie, thank you so much for having me on your episode. It's truly been an honor and a privilege to be here, and I do appreciate it. If you want to check out more of my stuff here on YouTube, you can do that by navigating to youtube.com/@dadgamingonline, or you can find me live on Twitch over at twitch.tv/dgonline. I hope you enjoyed our picks. Let us know down in the comments what yours are. We'll see you later.
Like he said, be sure to check out DG's channel as well. It's Dad Gaming Online right here on YouTube. He's got some reviews. He's got some great videos on there. And of course, we share a podcast together, Relaxed Retro Talk. So be sure to check that out as well if you're into podcasts and retro gaming and stuff like that. And be sure to like, subscribe, and turn notifications to all so you don't miss the next video right here on my channel. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like he said, let us know some of your comfort games in the comments below and why. What do they mean to you? Why do they make you feel as good as you feel when you go back and play those games? Anyways, I am Dookie03, and I will see you guys in the next one.